Hello students, so in today's class we are going to cover the remaining topic for chapter 2, that is first is the type conversion. What exactly is type conversion and how it can be practically implemented. So whenever you are declaring three variables a, b and c into type integer, so you are declaring something as int a, b and c. Suppose you want to add two numbers, that is a and b, and want to store the value of this addition into the other variable, that is c. Here I have taken two constant 5 and 2, they are integer constant, and storing some operations performing on 5 and 2 into the variable c. So in first case I have divided 5 by 2 and storing the answer to c. You can practically implement this this operation. You will see that you are getting answer 2. So you may tell that ma'am, we have declared c as integer, that's why it is giving me answer in integer. Let's see. So 5 is integer, 2 is integer, and its operation is giving answer as integer. So which is wrong answer technically, because here the correct answer is 2.5, but the 0.5 is just chopped up to some integer value 2. You can say, ma'am, can't we get the correct answer by just declaring c as float? Yes, you can try. You can declare c as float. Now c is declared as float, but a and b, or say these constants, are integers, right? And you are again dividing 5 by 2. Now what is the answer? If you are practically implementing this, you will see that you are still getting 2.000 answer up to 6 decimal places. One minor change is in first case you are getting just 2 as an integer. In second case you are getting 2 as a accurate till 6 decimal point. That is 2.00000. There is no difference. Why it is happening? It is because some kind of internal rules. Now you can perform the third case in which you are just taking one variable as integer, that is suppose a you are taking as integer and b and c you are taking as float, and storing the answer inside c as we have done in previous cases. You will see that you will get correct answer right now. Right? So you can perform this example by yourself and you will check that whether it will give perfect answer for case 3 or not. You will see it is giving me 2.5 and 5 times 0. What is happening over here? This concept is all about type conversion. Basically we are having two type of type conversion. First is implicit type conversion and second is explicit type conversion. What we are going to first cover the implicit type conversion. So what exactly this implicit type conversion is? Implicit type conversion is implemented by compiler itself. So you are not going to explicitly do anything, but it is the compiler who will decide that in which type the result will be. So by default, whenever you are performing some kind of operations on some variables and each of these variables are having same data type, then the result will be in that So suppose you are performing an operation of adding two numbers or like say dividing two numbers and both of these variables are integer, then the answer will be automatically integer. Okay. Now what if one of the data type is different? So suppose as you can see, one of the data type is float and another data type is integer. So 5.0 is float over here and 2 is integer. At that time the lower data type will be converted to higher data type. Now what exactly this lower and higher means? I have covered one topic of qualifiers, that is short, long, signed, unsigned. At that time I told you that these qualifiers are used to change the range of digits or numbers. Similar way, you can say that double data type covers more range of numbers and float data type covers lesser range of number than double. Similarly, integer covers just positive and negative integers and zeros, but float covers so many other numbers like floating numbers. So the domain of float is higher than that of integers. So that way I have given one hierarchy over here, which will first is higher data type and the last is lowest data type. So in implicit type conversion, the compiler is going to do its job by just automatically converting one data type to another data type, that is lower data type to higher data type. So that is why you are getting a different answer when in the program of calculator you were using all of those variables as integer, you were getting wrong answer, and all of those variables as float, you were getting right answer for specifically division operator. Right? This is the reason. This is the reason why I told you to take each of variables as float right now, because I have not covered this topic that time. So this is all about implicit type conversion. Now you can see here that if I am adding double plus float, then the answer will automatically convert it to double. If I am adding short plus integer, then the answer will automatically convert to integer. And if I am adding long plus integer, the answer will be automatically converted to long. Okay, that is a higher data. Now then what exactly is explicit type conversion? There is one another word for this type of conversion, that is typecasting. So if ever you are hearing this kind of word typecasting, it is associated with explicit type conversion. In explicit type conversion, the programmer is going to do its job. So programmer is going to write a code for that. How to write that code? I have already given the syntax over here, that in the bracket you have to write the data type, name of data type, and then you can write the variable name. So suppose you want to convert that constant 2 to float, then you can write 5.0 divided by float 2. So at runtime this 2 will be converted to float explicitly, because I have written that code. If you want to convert such variable, then you can write the variable name after float. Okay, so it will behave like float by float, and it will be answer will be float. So that is all about explicit type conversion, which is going to be performed by programmer. So in the program of calculator, you can modify it right now by using explicit type conversion, because we have already done the program using implicit type conversion, which is the default type conversion. For explicit type conversion, you have to write the code. So this is all about the type conversion. Now we are going to cover the next topic, that is operator precedence and associativity. Now what exactly this operator precedence and associativity is? First, operator precedence. So I hope you all remember the mathematics in which if we are having four kind of operation at the same time in my expression, that is division, multiplication, subtraction and addition. So it will be not evaluated directly. First division will be evaluated, then multiplication will be evaluated, then subtraction will be evaluated, and at last plus addition will be evaluated. This is because there are some predefined rules based on which rules the evaluation should be done. So the order in which C evaluates different operations or operators in a mathematical expression is called operator precedence. Sequence in which various operators come in action for evaluation of expression. So you can see the example over here. Here I am adding 4 plus 3 into 2. So answer is being stored to variable A. So if we go with the rules, first 3 into 2 will be multiplied, 3 into 2 will be done. So answer is 6. Later this answer 6 will be added to the number 4. So our correct answer is 10, which is shown as correct over here. But if I am not following the rules, first I will add two numbers, that is 4 plus 2, that is 4 plus 3, that is 7, and then multiplying 7 with 2, the answer will be 14, which is wrong answer. Mathematically it is wrong, and it will be wrong if you are performing this program as well. So how to evaluate these operators are decided by some predefined rules. At the end of this topic I am going to give those rules, so don't worry. Now what about the associativity? Suppose I am having two operators, say 4 plus 3 plus 2. So plus is having similar priorities, right? So which should be evaluated first? Say you are having 8 divided by 3 divided by 2. Which operation should be performed first? From left side's operator or the right side's operator, right? So that is decided by the associativity. So associativity is nothing but if two operators are at the same level, then the evaluation is done from left to right or right to left, right? So you can see the example over here. If I am writing 4 plus 3 minus 2. So in my computer language, plus and minus is having similar priority. So first left side will be evaluated and then right side will be evaluated. So even if the program is like 4 minus 3 plus 2, then the minus will be evaluated first, because we are going with the associativity, which is left to right for the arithmetic operator plus and minus. That I am going to show you, so don't worry. If you don't know the rules, don't worry. Then after you can see the another example, 100 plus 200 divided by 10 minus 3 into 10. So first division is being done. So 200 divided by 10, that means 20, and after that minus 30. So exactly this is the equation written over here, and you will get, according to the associativity rule, you will get 90 as the answer over here. If you want to learn, you can see this screenshot of your book, in which they have given the table where all these operators are written according to their associativity and precedence. So you can remember this table for the further use. Here is the second page of that table. You can see all of it over here. Here also I have given one example where z equal to 3 plus 2 into 4 into 5. So brackets are having higher associativity. So first brackets will be evaluated as 8. Then it is 3 plus 8 into 5. Multiplication is having higher priority. That's why first 40 is evaluated and then it will be added to 3. So we will get z as the final answer of 43. Similarly, if I am having x equal to 2 and y equal to 3, and I am going with the associativity and precedence of increment operators, this is the answer I am getting for these three expressions. So these are some examples to understand operator precedence and associativity. Now, in the next lecture, I am going to cover the topic that is for input-output functions, which is very important. We have already covered the examples in which we were using input-output functions. I hope you enjoyed this class. See you in the next class. Thank you so much.